Anxieties and fears aren't always out in the open. They can have a subtle but significant impact on how we think and feel. But how can we deal with these feelings when they appear, particularly when we're trying to overcome an obstacle? Following the development of mindfulness and self-awareness, this video will discuss strategies for coping with powerful emotions. One step toward liberation from the cycle of dread is becoming cognizant of the ways in which our thoughts contribute to our uneasiness. We may change our relationship with worry and dread by learning to be more mindful and present in the here and now, rather than letting them control us. What then occurs when the normally subdued emotions of fear and anxiety suddenly become front and center? A lot of people live with these feelings all the time, and they subtly affect how they think and behave. But that subtle worry might explode into a full-blown panic attack when you're up against a tough situation. You can feel ensnared in the clutches of the once mastered attachment now that it's out in the open. As you start to understand the connection between your thoughts and feelings, you may come to terms with the fact that worrying and other unconscious thinking processes constantly feed the emotion we refer to as fear or anxiety. This leads to an endless loop. When you're upset, it usually shows up in your solar plexus area or your belly button as a tightness, a nearly painful sensation that stays put there. However, the entire body might be impacted. Relaxation spreads throughout the body. Anxiety decreases your immune system physically because it disrupts the peaceful functioning of your body. Stress, which includes feelings of worry and anxiety, increases your vulnerability to disease, according to even conventional medical wisdom. Staying healthy is more of a challenge when you're always worried or stressed out. It doesn't mean you'll never get sick if you're not anxious, but it does make it harder. Consequently, the fear naturally returns to your mind, amplifying your fearful thoughts to a higher level of emotional intensity, which in turn generates even more of that emotion. In this way, the term vicious circle comes to mind. A frightening thought gives life to a fearful mood. According to the mind, the scary thoughts and feelings vibrate at the same frequency, which means that the fearful emotion persists for a long time. It would want to have additional of it. When you let yourself be consumed by worrying thoughts, you won't want to let go. Honestly, you're not even there when you're fully identified, so you might as well quit. It is unwilling to cease. In other words, you can't break out of this terrifying self-perpetuating loop. Anxious thoughts lead to anxious feelings, which in turn lead to anxious thoughts. No rational thought can enter your mind while you're in that condition. Do something right now regardless of what comes to mind. Where do I go from here? A novel and practical idea is highly improbable to occur to you. If you act out of fear, it will most likely not be smart, it will not work, and it will be wrong. No matter how you look at the world through the lens of dread, it just leads to greater pain. When you let your fears control your thoughts, any interpretation of the world will be a gross exaggeration. But when you put yourself in its shoes, it becomes genuine. So the first step is to become self-conscious, which includes being aware of your ideas and feelings. The second is to realize that some ways of thinking are damaging and pointless. It's ideal to gradually replace negative thoughts with good ones, but you can let go of the negative ones for a while, because you're still harboring a bad feeling about it. There will be a clash between the remaining emotion, fear, and the thoughts that have risen to the surface if you try to instantly replace the negative unconscious thoughts with more positive ones. Even when your rational mind tells you everything is okay, your emotional self insists that something is wrong. Life is perfect. There will be an abundance of me. This is not likely to have any effect. So, once again, become aware of the thoughts that pass through your mind. The first step in replacing negative ideas with good ones is becoming aware of their harmful and fruitless character. Spend as much time as possible in the here and now rather than dwelling on the past or future. Live more in the here and now because that is all that really matters. The fact that the only thing that matters is the here and now seems to elude your brain. Since nothing else will ever happen to you, you might as well make the most of it. Make it your life's work, since that's all there is to it. Everything is happening right now. No one can predict what the future holds. Any time is now. There is a now in the future. What transpired in the past unfolded in the present. Remembering the past is like remembering the present moment. The future is something that occupies your thoughts right now. The time is of the essence, so you may as well make the most of it. Put all of your energy into it, and then you can figure out what the future holds. You must first establish a mutually beneficial, rational, and amicable connection with the present moment. Get to know the here and now. When you step into the present now, you'll see that it's usually not a scary place, unless there's an actual emergency. After then, you'll need to act swiftly, whether it's a life or death situation. However, the here and now is actually considerably less dangerous than your thoughts would have you think. However, self-awareness is essential. You should be cognizant. To know that the here and now is genuinely on your side, you must learn to live in the here and now. It isn't out to get you. You get friendly with the present moment when you make it your friend. That's all. Let go of these anxious thoughts, though, and you start to separate your thoughts from the emotion. You see how pointless it is. Rather, you're far more engaged. Every once in a while, thoughts will still pop into your head. The key is to identify them and then release them. Pay closer attention, but the terror that has been building up for so long may not go away just yet, and it likely won't in their presence either. Yes, I am aware of additional sense impressions, the vitality of this moment, even if I stop fueling the emotion with my thoughts. Being present allows me to do just that. Suddenly, details that you previously ignored may take on a more pleasing appearance. On the other hand, you may still be aware of the presence of this underlying anxiety or fear. Even when you stop providing it with mental nourishment, it remains. Its impact is still palpable. That gets absorbed into your present moment awareness. So how exactly do you put it to use? I want to get rid of this is the typical response. These feelings are not normal for me. Stop making me feel this way. Additionally, some people are unable to cope with worry and may seek medical attention, pleading with their doctor to please do something about this anxiety. After that, you'll receive a prescription from the doctor. Those things could be useful for a short while in some severe situations, well, maybe in the most extreme of circumstances. But more often than not, you would have passed up a chance to grow by enduring hardship. I can't stay, it's so uncomfortable being in your own skin. When you refuse to run away from the emotional pain you're experiencing, whether it's anxiety or fear, it can get to the point where you want to run away or ask, please give me something to do so I don't have to feel this anymore. However, desiring its removal does not assist. On top of the already present feeling, it causes further stress or worry. Here's an alternate way of looking at it. Include the emotion you're feeling, the one still within you, in your present moment experience. Embrace it as fully as you accept everything else about this moment. This approach represents an innovative lifestyle, one that is incredibly powerful. It allows you to tap into your higher consciousness and realize the immense inner strength you possess. A new way of being emerges when you can accept both the internal and external aspects of the current moment just as they are. There's no need to worry or resist. Anxiety may arise, but it isn't inherently harmful. However, if you respond by amplifying it with fear or resistance, it can feel overwhelming. Instead, practice simply letting the anxiety exist without judgment. This perspective is similar to saying, I don't mind being anxious. It may sound paradoxical, but embracing this mindset can ease the grip of anxiety. As an intriguing experiment, try observing your emotions, anxiety included, without resistance. Notice how the act of allowing them to be changes your experience. This practice is a gateway to a new way of being, rooted in presence and self-acceptance. Indeed, any kind of misery might serve as a warning sign that something is amiss in your life. It's not the same thing. Fear and anxiety, however, are constant companions that bring you misery no matter your circumstances. They also claim that this is true for all of humanity. Saying, "I don't mind being unhappy," is like doing an experiment, as I mentioned before. Am I to be considered anxious? Obviously, though, your thoughts aren't amplifying the anxiety. Worry is something you are cognizant of. When you realize that your anxiety is consuming you and decide to stop feeding it, what do you become? There is a tremendous amount of energy, almost a burning energy in that dread, when you focus on it, which is a component of the attention that is in the here and now. However, the energy is not in a flowing state. Rather, it is imprisoned. Being there is like being on top of a boiling kettle with the cover firmly in place. For days, the energy is entangled in chaos. The energy of that fear is immense, and all that matters is that you can embrace it fully right now, without giving it any more fuel through your thoughts, simply by being aware of it. Something may be shifting, although subtly. Furthermore, the transformation involves transforming this fear-based energy. Upon full acceptance, this energy is transformed into profound presence. Thus, when you fully embrace your fears, the energy that created them vanishes, and the tremendous force that had been contained inside it becomes the fuel for your awareness. It changes into being fully present. Once it's fully embraced, terror transforms into profound awareness. To put it another way, that heightened state of consciousness is like having a superintelligence activate inside of you out of nowhere. You can no longer depend solely on mental conditioning. There's a powerful aura surrounding it. That doesn't imply it's a one-and-done deal. Anxiety is always present. In order to find out more about how living in the now may change your life, you should subscribe to this channel. Also, don't keep this video just to yourself. Share with someone who would benefit from a gentle reminder to live in the now. Like the video if it touched you, and post a comment that reads, "Now," to pledge to living in the present moment.